Hello and welcome to our fifth session, and this is day 1, hour 3, and in this session we are going to continue exploring the Unreal interface. So to begin with, I will come to Epic Games Launcher. I will double click to open it. Now here in Unreal Engine, if I come into the library, I have this Satvik office which we had created in our previous session. So we had explored this Satvik office. I will just double click to open this. So when I double click on this, from the Epic Game Launcher, Unreal Editor is getting launched now. Okay, so now it is launched and you are seeing Satvik_office level. So right now in this session, what we are going to do is, we are going to build this level or our own set right from scratch. So for that, I will come into my content drawer here, and coming into content, I will right click and I am now going to create a new folder, and I am going to call this folder as maps, and now I will come into file and choose new level. And when I click on new level, I have 4 options here: open world, empty open world, basic and empty level. So to start right from scratch, I am going to start with this empty level and I will select create. So when I click on create, this is going to create an empty level or an empty set. So the first job is, I will go into file and choose save current level as, and I am going to browse to my content, and in maps folder, I am going to give this the name as my own map. In Unreal, when we start working, the very first thing we need is the atmosphere. Whenever you want to add something into your level, we are going to use this plus icon here, click here, and from here I can add various options. To create this atmosphere, I will come into window and I will enable environment light mixer. So when I enable environment light mixer, and here you have only show atmospheric light, I will keep it off, and then you have minimal, normal, you can see these options will change, and normal plus advanced. So I have 3 options here. I will choose minimal, and the very first thing to create the atmosphere is, I have to create a skylight. So when I click on create skylight, immediately a skylight is created, and you can see in your outliner the skylight is added. So to organize this better, I will come here, right click and choose create folder, and I am going to create a folder called atmosphere, and I will drag this skylight and put it into the folder atmosphere. Skylight is going to create the space to build our atmosphere. So after skylight, this should be followed by sun. What is sun? Sun is nothing but a directional light. Means the sun gives us light from different direction. To simulate sun in Unreal, we add a direction light. So when I click on create direction light here, so a direction light is added, and you can see the icon is added here. I will drag it and put it inside this atmosphere, and if you see in the screen, as of now you have direction light and skylight, but nothing is visible. I am not able to see the sun. So to make the sun appear, I have to add now the sky atmosphere. So this is the third option I have here. So when I click on create sky atmosphere, immediately now you can see that you are now seeing the blue sky on the top, and here you are seeing our sun. So if I come here to direction light, and if I come in the details to the transform panel, and if I move this y axis, you can see my sun is moving. See, I can move it like this, or I can even move it along z. So y and z axis, I can move this. So I will set the z value to 0 and this y value to around minus 30 degree. Okay, so now I am seeing the sun. I have to now add clouds here. So the clouds to be added. So for that, if I click on create volumetric cloud, so when I click on it, you can immediately see the clouds has been created. So, I will drag this volumetric cloud also and put it into the atmosphere. So, now you have the cloud here. See, the cloud is also animated. You can see the clouds moving. See, you can see the animation happening. And finally, see, between the cloud and our earth, you have a very sharp cut. This is not natural. So, to make it look natural, I have to add this create height fog. So, when I add this create height fog, now my atmosphere is ready. So, I will close this, and now I will also drag this sky atmosphere experimental height fog and both inside this atmosphere, and now you can see my atmosphere is ready. If I right click and navigate and turn around, you can see my atmosphere all around. So, now I will go to file and choose save current level to save this level. Now, let us start adding our objects to our scene one by one. So, for this we have completed this atmosphere section. So, I will now come into the scene, and to add any object to my scene, I am going to use this add button. Right now, I am going to add a ready-made shape from Unreal. So, for that I will click on the list here and come into the shape, and I will select cube. So, as soon as I click on the cube, you can see a cube has been added here, which is of the scale 1, 1, 1, and you can see the cube that has been added here. Now, the cube is as of now placed at some position here, and I want it to place it at 0, 0, 0. So, I will just click on this icon and I will double click on the cube so that it is zoomed. So, right now this cube is placed along the XYZ axis at 0, 0, 0 position. Now, before we continue further, I want you to understand what are these values. You are seeing 0, 0, 0 along the location, rotation and scale, and these values are nothing but we call it as the coordinate systems. So, to make you understand it better, I will take the example of Google Maps. See, I will come into Google Maps and I am going to come to my place Satvik Infotech. So, I have come to Satvik Infotech, and when I open this on Google Maps, now in our map, so if I zoom out and if I show it to you, in this entire world map that you are seeing here, every position on this planet is marked using a coordinate system. So, what is this coordinate system means? See, now if I select this Satvik Infotech and if I zoom to this Satvik Infotech and I am going to right click, and immediately on the top you are seeing two values. One is 12.97888 and another is 77.53554. Now, these two coordinates are what we call as the latitude and longitude value. In case of our earth, how we measure different points on this earth, every location on this earth is actually measured using these values. Now, the very first value represents latitude. Latitude means the earth is divided horizontally into different grades, and from the center core of the earth we draw an imaginary line to this point, and the center core of the earth is called as the origin point, where the value is 0, 0, 0. The earth is divided vertically into lines called as the longitude, and this longitude represents the second number. That is, from the center core of the earth at an angle of 12.97888 along the latitude and 77.53554 along the longitude, I have my location Satvik Infotech. So, similarly here if I come and type Film Television Institute of India, then you can now see this Film Television Institute of India. If I right click, it is at an angle of 18.51323 along the latitude and 73.82953 along the longitude. The very first value here will have a range from minus 90 degree to plus 90 degree, that is along the horizontal width of our planet, and the second number will have a range from minus 180 degree to plus 180 degree. So, in this way every location on our planet is marked using this degree, minute and second values. If I come back to Unreal, just like we use Earth core as the midpoint, in Unreal we are going to use a point which is called as the point of origin. Now I will come to the top and I will select this select tool, and immediately you can see that the center of this cube is present at point 0, 0, 0. It means that it is at an origin point. And what is this 0, 0, 0 is? The first value which is represented in red is called as the x-axis. The second value represented in green is called as the y-axis, and the third value represented in blue is called as the z-axis. So, now in your Unreal map, if I come here on the left hand side, you have this perspective view. If I click on this and if I come to top view, I am now going to see my cube from the top. If I double click this cube, it will come to the center. Now you can see that this cube is exactly at the origin point, and when I move it along the x-axis, say when I move it along the x-axis like this is moving either to here forward or backward. See, this is moving forward or backward. This axis we call it as the x-axis. So, to give you another example, see here you can see in the top view I am seeing only two axes. One is the x-axis which is forward or backward, and y is right or left. Okay. So, I will reset this to 0. However, if I come to front view and see it, in the front view, see when I move it along the green axis, it moves either to the right or to the left. So, if you want to move the object to left or right, I use the green y axis. If I come to right view, you can see the x axis. That represents top to bottom movement. So, I will come back here to perspective view, and here you can see when I move it along x, the object is moving forward backward. When I move it along y, it is moving left or right, and when I move it along z, it is moving top or bottom. So, we are going to set the position of every object in our scene using this coordinate system. So, if I reset it to 0, 0, 0, it will be present exactly at the center. And these tools are called as the transform tools. Means we are transforming the position of our object along x, y, z axis using this move tool, and the keyboard shortcut to move tool is W. Remember, in your keyboard you have QWERT keys, and in that if you press Q on your keyboard, you will be in select mode. So, in this mode you will only select the object and you are not going to do any transformation. If I press W, I am going to select this move tool. I can transform the position. Similarly, if I press E, this is rotation tool. So, in rotation tool, if I click and drag along the x axis, this is going to rotate along the x axis. See, here you can see the rotation happening. I will reset it. If I rotate it along the y axis, see, along the left right axis it is rotating. I will reset it to 0, and when I rotate it along the z axis, it is rotating across the top bottom axis. I will reset it to 0. Similarly, you have scale, wherein if I scale this along the x axis, front and back, this axis, in this axis my cube is getting scaled. If I scale it along the y axis, along the left and right it is getting scaled, and if I scale it along the z axis, its thickness is getting scaled. Okay, so I will reset this and set all the 3 values to 1. This is what we call as the coordinate system in Unreal. So, remember, in Unreal, front back movement is represented by x, left right movement is represented by y, which is green color, and top bottom movement is represented by blue, that is the z axis. It is represented by blue color. Now, once we know about the coordinate system, our next aim is that I have to now construct my office. So, we are creating our office from the scratch, and the very first thing is I need my office building. So, if I see my plan, my office building should be around 10.1 meters by 14.61 meters. So, this should be the dimension of my office. So, to create this office, right now I will come here, and to create this I am not going to use this cube. So, I will select this cube and press delete. Now, I will come into add, and instead of adding the cube from the shapes, I will come to geometry, and in the box I am going to drag and add a cube, and this is called as geometry brush. So, I am going to explain you why I am using this geometry brush. So, we are going to construct our buildings using this box brush. So, this box brush, I am going to double click it to zoom it to it, and if I press F2, I am going to rename this as walls. So, these are the walls of my room, and for these walls I will come into location, and as of now I will reset it to 0, double click to zoom it to that. Then if I scroll down, you can see the brush dimensions set to 200, 200 and 200. Now, what is this 200? Is it 200 meters, 200 centimeters, 200 feet or 200 kilometers? What is the value of this unit? If you want to know it in Unreal, for example, if I come to edit project settings, and here in search if I type units, you can now see that by default in Unreal 1 unit is equal to 1 centimeter, mass is kilogram, time is second and minutes, and angle is degrees. So, these are the default units. So, if I close this and if I come here, here every 200 means in real dimension this is nothing but 200 centimeters. But as of now, I need the front to back dimension of my building to be 14.61 meters. So, if I just type 14.61, this is not meters, this is centimeters. So, to make it or convert it into meters, 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So, what I will do is, I will type the star, press shift 8 and add this star and multiply it by 100 and press enter. So, this is the actual size, which is nothing but 14.6 meters of my building. Okay. Now, along the y axis I want this to be 10.1 meters. So, what I will do here is, I will type 10.1 shift 8 into 100, and I got the dimension of my room. And only thing is this Z, the thickness of my building or the height of my building is, it is 3 meters. So, I am going to multiply 3 and I am going to multiply this into 100. So, I have got this 300 meters along the Z, y axis 1010 and x axis 1461. So, this is the actual dimension of my office. So, I have constructed the outer wall of my office, and now the next thing here is, I will just now come here from the perspective view to the front view, and if I double click on this wall, you can now see this building is placed below my axis. So, I want this to snap exactly on the top. So, we already know that this height we have set it to 300 meters. So, if I move this along the x axis to the top by 150 meters, that is half of 300, this will sit exactly on the origin point. So, now I have my outer wall ready. Instead of front, I will come into perspective. So, my outer building is ready. Now, the next thing is, when I enter inside the building, I should be able to see the walls here inside the building. So, for this, I have to add or cut a box inside this. So, this is why we make use of this geometry brush. So, for this, I will select this, press Ctrl plus D to duplicate it, and I am going to press F2 and I am going to call this as walls inner. And in this case, in my building, every side of my building has a thickness of about 1 meter. So, what I will do is, for this duplicated one, I will come into the size here and I am going to subtract minus 100 along the x axis, minus 100 along the y axis and minus 100 along the z axis. And now, I will select this wall inner, and if I move down, you have brush type which is set to additive, and I am going to change this additive to subtractive. And when I change it to subtractive, now if I zoom inside the building now, press my middle mouse and pan up like this, and I will right click my mouse and move to the top, and you can see now that I am inside my building, which is of the size 10.1 meter by 14.6 meters. Now, here this is looking plain and I want to add some materials. I will just show you how quick and easy it is to add materials here. So, for that I will come into content drawer, and in content, now you have many material already provided to you, and in this content, to see only the materials, I can click here and enable material. Now, what is this material is? This is a component or a texture that we are going to apply to your model, so that, say for example, these walls, whether you want it to be a concrete wall or whether you want it to be a wooden wall, so this can be determined by this material. So, if when I select material, you have various materials available here. Say for example, I can take this brick clay, and if I just drag it and put it onto any of the one surface here, now you can now see here. So, I will just left click and press E to move to the top, and you can see that this is made with the brick. Now, similarly, I can just scroll down and see there are so many types of material here, and I am going to select this wood walnut and apply it here. And now if I left click and turn and show it to you, so this appears like a wood. So similarly here I will select the same wood valve and apply it here. I will select it again and apply it here. So this is actually the wood walls. On one side I have made it a brick floor, and for the roof I am just going to scroll here to find out some good material. So I will just right click and switch down, and in content drawer I will roll up, and I am going to now select this marble material. So you have this rock marble. I will drag it and put it to the floor. So you can now see the floor is totally a marble material. Now similarly for the top, I can, for the roof, just scroll around and select any of this texture material. So this is looking somewhat, see, so I can add any type of material like this. So I will left click, press Q and move down, and I can see here I will just turn around, I will right click and move up and down. So if you are not happy with this material, I will open content drawer, and in this I can select some other material. Say for example, I doesn't need metal rust. I will just move up and I will select this concrete grim and apply it to the top. So like this I can apply any kind of material here, and after applying the material, now the next thing is I can start placing my objects here in this room and make the layout ready. Say for example, I can come into the content drawer, I will come into Satvik office. Now I will come into the filter and I will switch off this material so that I can see all the objects, and in this I will come into static mesh and in properties. So if I just scroll here and have a look here, I have the elevator. See, I can just drag this elevator and place it over here. See, the elevator is added into my scene. So I can just drag it and place it at one corner like this. And for this elevator I need doors. So I will press D and move to the left. I will turn around. See, I am just scrolling like this. So I will come here, and in the content drawer I will drag this left door here and just place it like this. See, I can place it like this. Similarly, I will drag this right door and I am going to now just place it like this, and if required I will move this along the axis. So now I have my lift ready here. So after adding the lift at one corner, say I want to add some room here. So what you can do is I can take various content from here. So I have this desk manager table. I can drag this table and place it somewhere here like this, and I can move it next to the lift. I have this. Then I can scroll up and I can just take a chair and put it over here. I will just drag it and snap it. I will just turn, right click, I will just zoom out, press left click and press A to move to the side. Say I will just move to the side. I will press S and move back A. I will just navigate in the scene. Then I will just move this chair a little and place it like this. So like this I can now build my entire set like this. So this is just an introduction for you. So I can come to file and save this current level. If required, you can come into Satvik Office Maps and you can open map assets, and from this map asset you can select any of the asset that you want to use. So we have already used the lift. I want to add this sofa, means select this, right click, browse to asset. So when I click on browse to asset, you have that asset available here. See, it is sofa LA. So now what I can do is I can come back to content, maps, and I can open my map, and in this I am now going to come into Satvik Office Statishmex props, and I am going to type sofa LA. So, this is the sofa. So, I can just drag it and place it in my scene. So, like this you can just browse for what kind of content you need, and you can place all these contents here and press the play button and press here W and walk around the scene and see how your assembled scene looks. So, this is my current assembled scene. Press Q or E to move up. See, I can move up, I can just move around here by pressing the play, and I can see that I have assembled a simple office here. So, I will press stop. Okay. So, now in this session we have on the day 1 of our virtual filmmaking process, we have just explored the as a tip of the iceberg the basics of this Unreal Engine. So, in this session we created a level, we added atmosphere, we added a room, we built a room using geometry brush, and then we have added the component. Now, as an assignment to you, I want you to build an office room and assemble all the parts, and I want you to design your own office, take a screenshot and share it with us. So, this is the assignment for you for day 1, and with this we conclude our day 1 session, and let us meet on day 2 hour 1. Thank you.